February 1st, 1943. Over the English Channel, a B-17 Flying Fortress is in trouble. Both pilots are wounded, unconscious, slumped over the controls. The plane is flying itself. 10 men are aboard, and the only person who can land it is Staff Sergeant John Foley, the crew chief. A mechanic who has never flown a plane in his life. This is the story of the man who talked himself through landing a 35-ton bomber with no training, no experience, just a radio and pure desperation. The mission had gone wrong from the start. A bombing raid on German submarine pens in France. They dropped their bombs, turned for home. Then German fighters hit them. The attack was brutal. 20mm cannon shells tore through the cockpit. The pilot, Captain Robert Harrison, took shrapnel to the chest. The co-pilot, Lieutenant David Mills, was hit in the head. Both men collapsed. Blood everywhere. The bombardier, Lieutenant Frank Pierce, climbed up from the nose, checked their pulses. They're alive, but unconscious. Badly wounded. He looks back at the crew. We need someone to fly this plane. The navigator, the bombardier, the radio operator, none of them have flight training. Then Pierce sees Foley. The crew chief, you work on these planes. You know every system. Can you fly it? Foley stares at him. I fix planes. A tonneau fly them. You're about to learn. They pulled the unconscious pilots out of their seats. Dead weight. Foley climbs into the left seat, the pilot seat. He looks at the controls. Hundreds of switches, gauges, levers, instruments everywhere. He's worked on B-17s for 2 years, knows every mechanical system, every wire, every rivet, every bolt, but he's never sat in this seat, never touched these controls. Pierce gets on the radio, calls their base at RAF Thurleigh in England. This is Fortress 279er, both pilots down. Crew chief is attempting to fly the aircraft. We need help. The response is immediate. 279er, this is Thurleigh Tower. Who's flying our mechanic, sir? Silence. Then, understood. We're getting someone to talk him through it. Stand by. At Thurleigh, the base commander grabs the most experienced B-17 pilot on the field, Major Thomas Murphy. 30 combat missions, 200 flying hours in B-17s. Murphy gets on the radio. His voice is calm, steady. 2-7-9er. This is Major Murphy. What's your name, son? Staff Sergeant Foley. Sir? Okay, Foley. I'm going to walk you through this. First, tell me what you see. Foley looks at the instrument panel. His hands are shaking. Airspeed, altitude, compass. A lot of other stuff I don't understand. That's fine. You don't need to understand it all. You just need to keep the plane level. See that instrument with the little airplane symbol on it? That's your artificial horizon. I see it. The airplane symbol needs to stay on the line. If it goes above the line, push the stick forward gently. If it goes below, pull back gently. Can you do that? Foley grips the control yoke. It's heavy, stiff, like wrestling a bear. I'll try. For the next 20 minutes, Murphy teaches Foley how to fly, how to adjust throttle, how to trim the plane, how to make gentle turns. Foley learns fast. He has to. One mistake and 10 men die. But there's a problem, a big problem. Foley has never landed a plane, and landing a B-17 is the hardest part. It weighs 35 tons, stalls at 90 miles per hour, has to touch down at exactly the right speed and angle, or it crashes. Murphy knows the odds. A trained pilot can land a B-17 in perfect conditions 95% of the time. An untrained mechanic, maybe 5%, maybe. But Murphy doesn't tell Foley that. As they approach England, Murphy starts the landing sequence, step by step. Foley, I need you to reduce power. Pull the throttles back slowly, about 1 inch. Foley does. The engine's quiet. The plane starts to descend. Good. Now you're going to line up with the runway. I'll tell you when to turn. Foley's hands are sweating. The yoke is slippery. How do I know when to land? You'll feel it. The plane will tell you. They talk Foley through the approach. Lowering the landing gear, 3 green lights, gear down and locked. Extending the flaps, the plane slows, gets more stable, reducing speed to 120 miles per hour. At 500 feet, Murphy's voice gets more serious. Foley, this is the hard part. You're going to bring the nose up, gently, just a little. The plane needs to land on the main wheels first, not the nose wheel. If you hit nose first, you'll cartwheel. Understand? Foley's heart is pounding so hard he can feel it in his throat. How much do I pull back? You'll know. Trust the plane. At 50 feet, Foley pulls back on the yoke. The nose comes up. The plane is in the flare. The last few seconds before touchdown, Murphy holds his breath. The crew holds their breath. Foley holds his breath. The main wheels hit the runway. Hard, very hard. The plane bounces, comes down again. Bounces again. Then settles. Foley has no idea how to use the brakes. He just lets the plane roll. It rolls for a mile. Finally slows, stops. Foley sits there, hands frozen on the controls. Can't move, can't speak. Emergency crews race to the plane, pull the wounded pilots out, rush them to the hospital. Both survive. Foley climbs out of the cockpit. His legs give out. He collapses on the wing. Just sits there, shaking. Murphy drives out to the plane, finds Foley sitting on the wing, staring at nothing. Son, you just landed a B-17 on your first try. Do you know how impossible that is? Foley looks at him. I didn't land it, sir. You did. I just held the controls. Murphy smiles. No, Foley. I told you what to do. You did it. That's all flying is. Someone tells you what's possible. You make it happen. Staff Sergeant John Foley was awarded the Distinguished Flying Cross, the first non-pilot in the 8th Air Force to receive it. The citation reads, "For extraordinary achievement while serving as crew chief." When both pilots were incapacitated, Sergeant Foley took control of the aircraft despite having no flight training and successfully landed it, saving the lives of 10 crew members. Captain Harrison and Lieutenant Mills both survived their wounds. After the war, Harrison looked Foley up, wanted to thank him personally. "I heard you landed my plane." Foley nodded. "Yes, sir." "Sorry about the rough landing." Harrison laughed. Genuine laugh. "Rough, son. Any landing you walk away from is a good landing. You saved my life. You saved all of us." John Foley never flew again. He stayed a mechanic. Fixed planes for the rest of the war. 20 more months of combat operations, but he kept the Distinguished Flying Cross on his wall. And whenever someone asked him about it, he'd say, "I flew once. That was enough." Flying isn't about knowing how. It's about not quitting when you don't know how. That day, I didn't know how to land, but I had to, so I did. That's the story of the mechanic who flew. Because sometimes the most qualified person for the job is the person who refuses to give up. That's the story they never taught you in school. If you want more untold stories of World War II's bravest pilots, subscribe now. New mission drops every week. Which hero should we honor next? Tell me in the comments. Fly safe.